That's great. And Adam, what are you seeing as like the main concern around families and resources available for families?
Yeah, so I think one of the pieces that has really risen to the top very quickly is around equity and knowing how do we ensure that families have the resources they need. And so Tiffany mentioned just a little bit there around, cable companies offering free internet during this time, local hotspots. But what we have to remember is remote learning isn't about distance learning, and I think or e-learning. Those are two different things. And remote learning really can be digital, and it also can be print paper, right? Like we provide packets and learning that way. And so for a lot of families, I think as school leaders, we need to know where is the equity gap in where our students are and where our families are, and then how do we begin to address that? And the number one way to find out those equity gaps is just to ask. And so I was talking with a school leader yesterday, and he and his team have went around and have done home visits and just dropped off resources and talked with those families around, what is it that they need? How can we help and let them be successful? And so I think this conversation around equity and making sure that school leaders recognize that what one family has, another family doesn't, and we have to be mindful of that. And so having that communication and making sure that if a student isn't being successful in this environment, we find out the why and just don't assume that they're not doing it because they don't care or they don't want to.
Absolutely. And I think that really resonates in the global space. That is no different anywhere we are in the
Yeah.
world. I actually think that this is forcing the hand a little bit around the conversation around equity in the international space. It isn't just it is what it is anymore. It is having to be addressed so that we can make sure that all of our children are learning